Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming on to share with you a vintage slash antique store haul that I've got with lots of vintage photos and lots of beautiful ephemera. Now this store is based in Birmingham in the UK, so if anyone does live in Birmingham, just leave me a comment down below and I'll let you know where the shop is. But I always call it a junk shop, and I didn't realise until the guy gave me his card that he actually specialises in antiques, but there's a lot of junk in there as well. I was in this shop for a good hour and a half, and it is quite a small shop, and there's loads of little rooms off each other, and they are literally piled to the ceiling, so you have a really good rummage, and you feel so proud when you find something that is just what you want. Now this, I got this last time I went, so this was a couple of months ago, but I'm going to show it to you because I've got a great idea for a journal with it. It's a leather wallet, so you open it up and there's all these pockets in there, and I really like that. So what I'm going to do is just a single signature in here, and I'm going to keep it as like a memory capsule. There's plenty of room for it to expand, and I should still be able to get bits behind there. I'm not sure about that one, but definitely in that pocket. Or maybe I'll do signatures that fold out of here so they tuck in, or I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to leave the cover very plain. As you can see, there's like 2 rings on there from somebody who's rested their cup on there a couple of times. But I really love this. It says genuine leather, foreign, so I'm not quite sure what that means. And there was a mirror there, but I've took the mirror out and I'm going to put a photos in there. There's a little stitch pocket there. I just think it's great. It is really good and perfect for making a little journal. So that was my haul from a couple of weeks ago. I got a couple of other bits at that time, so I'll show you what I got now. Now some of these are going to be listed on my Etsy store, so if you don't already, follow me over on Instagram because I will post when these items are listed on my store. But these are like some silk embroidery patches, and there is so many in here. I'm going to scan these, so there's some digital copies, so if anyone wants to buy digital versions of them, and then I'm going to sell them in some bundles. But I'll just give you, look at that. These are just... I'm going to be going through these for ages, just staring at them all. There was a beautiful one of a pansy, you know, just absolutely lovely. Some of the colours. So yeah, like I say, I'll be posting on my Instagram when those are up. Or just keep an eye on my Etsy store. I'll just move those to the side. Now, here are the goodies. So this is like a bag of ephemera that I got. The majority of what this guy does in the store is house clearances. So the majority of this come from the one house. I've tried to work out a bit of the backstory, but some of the letters don't fit together and they are quite old. So maybe they're from different generations and stuff. Now these little bits here, they wasn't from the same house. So there's a vintage tea card there. So those are always cool, especially if you're doing like a themed journal. And this is for fishing, so fishing tackles or something in here, hooks. But what I thought is they're made out of these glassine type paper. I thought they'd just be great for little pockets, you know, stick a little photo in there, and even that, when this is done, this will make a great piece of ephemera, because I just love using real ephemera in my journals. Makes them a little bit more special as well, doesn't it? Some lovely stamps. I think I'm going to check if they are worth anything before I use them. Someone's pay packet from August 1970. Again, I just thought that was really cool. It has obviously been opened because the money's gone, but it's resealed back down, so I'll open it back up and I can use it as a nice tuck spot. And this, I just love this. Again, when this is probably finished, I'll probably use this as a tiny journal, but it comes with an original pencil. And just look at that. Look at that paper. I just love that. That is definitely going in journals. I'll probably take that staple out. So it says, best wishes for Christmas and the New Year. And I'm not sure what the name says. And it says British made. It feels like it's leather as well. I just love that. I love those pages that are in there. Now all of this now is from the same house. So we've got these, it's like an invitation, I think, to a dance which was held in July 1945. And they're just blank on the back, and I thought they're great for journaling cards, they are. And I might sell a couple of these, but I don't want to let them all go, so I might just sell half, or, you know, see how I feel. It's one of those things, you always tend to hoard these amazing things that you find. So there's one for May of 45 and there's one for July of 1945. And it's a spotters club, something to do with planes, I think that is. I'm not too sure. Now, this is just a front of a book that was just in there as well. Like I say, there's lots of randomness in there. Now, there's a couple of photos. This is a membership to like a gym, Women's League of Health and Beauty. I love what it says on the back. So on the back here it says, I will try as far as possible to acquire some practical knowledge of the mechanisms of the body. I will spend at least 15 minutes per day or 1.5 hours per week on practical health building in the body, such as walking, running or sports in the open air, or exercise indoors with the windows open. And then at the very bottom it's like number 5. This must have been like the pledges that they make to join. I will try and at least introduce 2 new members. I just think it's great. An old photo there, just outside of a house. I'm not entirely sure where that's from. And then there's just some very generic postcards. There's just one that's been written on, and it doesn't have a year on it, so I can't quite make that out. Oh, I can. It's May 1974 on the franc. And then these are just general ones. Yeah, just around the British Isles, I think. Now, there's a couple of letters. This was in there, and it was already in this little pouch. So I think this is quite special to someone. Yeah. It might actually go with this. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, this goes with this. This letter is from Uncle Charlie. So this must have been attached to something. I think it might be a photo. So basically this letter here, it's brilliant. So look, it's all double-sided. There's 34 pages in total. I've just read it this morning. It's basically from Uncle Charlie in 1922. Okay. So at the very top, so it says, this notepaper is what your daddy gave me when I left home. So you see I have taken good care of it, haven't I? So it's basically Uncle Charlie, who moved to Australia in 1907. It's amazing, the letter. So it was quite upsetting actually when I got to the letter. So the first half of the letter, he's telling about how he got to Australia. He worked on a ranch when he was there. You know, that it was quite a struggle working on the ranch because it was, you know, quite lonely and stuff like that. And then he then moves to Adelaide, I think it is, gets a job on the trains and works his way up through the ranks. And I think he works on the train for about 10 years, he says. And he's writing to apologise that he hasn't wrote to his family in 14 years because he says what his intentions were to go back home and surprise his family, and he never wrote to his family for over 10 years. He never answered any of their letters, so they didn't know whether he was even alive, and he's writing in this to apologise to them because after 8 years I think he had enough money to come back home to England to surprise his family, but it never happened because he got married to a widow who had 4 kids. So obviously his wages then went on supporting his new family, and the end of the letter's just apologising for the fact that he's never writ back, and yeah, it's hard, pulls at your heartstrings, that one does. So I can only assume that this was maybe attached to a photo or something, and maybe there was a photo in here. Not entirely sure, but that letter is amazing. I might scan some of it to just to keep. I might put it on my Etsy store. Maybe let me know if you would be interested in something like that. But I don't want to, I don't know. I want to keep the original letter, I think. And then I do want to use it because that's obviously what I've bought this for. So maybe I'll scan it and use the scanned copies because I just couldn't rip this up. you know. This paper is from the early 1900s and it is in amazing condition. He says in the letter as well that it takes 10 months for letters to arrive to him, because obviously he's had some letters from home and they haven't arrived for 10 months. So just think that's amazing. Now this letter's a little bit later on. It's a little bit harder to read, this letter. I don't think they're the same people. So this one is in March of 1945, and this is a letter from a man who's in the army. He's stationed in Northern Ireland and his young wife is pregnant at home, and the whole letter is him writing to his wife saying how he's trying to get compassionate leave and a compassionate posting, but the commanding officer won't allow him. So the letter in itself, just the way it's been written, is quite like informally writ, so it is quite funny at times, just the language that's used in there, but it is a little bit harder to make out some of the details. There's some problems or something like that at home, it sounds like. I'm not sure if there's problems with the little baby or anything like that. But yeah, that one's a very good letter as well. Again, I don't want to use the original letter. Now this one again, this is from an employer based in Birmingham, which is where I live. And basically it's letters from his employer saying, I'll read it to you. Oh, it's not that one. This is in the 60s. So there's two letters in here. First lines of the letter saying, "You have not reported for work so far this week, and in absence of a medical certificate, it must be assumed that you are on strike. In the circumstances, although normal staff benefits will be suspended during the period that you are away, the following notes are intended for your guidance," and he obviously just gives some information, and that's August of 1961. So I think that's great. Now the next couple of items that I got were photo albums. They're not photo albums that relate to these families as far as I'm aware. No, I will just flick through them. All of these are great quality photos, so they are going to be listed on my Etsy store as digitals. Let me just tidy up so you can see a little bit better. Yeah, so these are from the 1950s, early 1950s. Lots of beautiful wedding photos. What I think I might do is, after I've done that that small journal, I might make a vintage wedding journal. Some lovely photos in here. We'll just flick through quickly just so you can see. Let me bring it up a bit. Beautiful cars. So this was a lady who worked at a printing factory. Just look. You know, look, can you imagine going to the beach in a full three-piece suit? It's just amazing, isn't it? I love that one. Some great portraits of obviously kids in the family. Yeah, that one's great as well. Shame that the mount's ripped a little bit, and there's some just newspaper cuttings from births and bereavements in the family. I love, yeah, there's some more wedding ones there. They are lovely, aren't they? And what I've assumed was that this is this lady's photo album. She worked at a printing company and she retired at the age of 80. Beautiful, isn't it? And then second photo album here. This one's great. This one is late 40s. And it's basically, I can't make out, you know, what type of regiment or training they're in. Are they nurses? Are they in the RAF or the Navy? But it's this group of girls here who are in this photo album. So they've come away to like a residential or training or something like that. And there's just brilliant photos. I mean, look at the girls on the beach. They are so great. just love that one. Sorry. It's a great photo. I think they've travelled abroad in some of it as well. I'll have to try and research, you know, some of the notes that the young girls put down. You know, here it's clear that's not in the UK, so I'm not sure where that would be. Just look at these, aren't they great? Gonna have to do a beach themed journal at the in the spring with these, I think. Yeah. Look at that great one as well. See, they're in some type of, I don't know if it's, I just don't know what that might be. So I'll try and research it out, and I'll try and draw up like a story that goes with these as well. And then finally I bought a newspaper. Let me just move some bits out the way, because this is very fragile. I haven't opened it out and looked at all of the pages yet, which I will do. But what I intend to use this for is just, you know, the adverts, and you know, so this is from 1938 and this cost 1 penny. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I think this is still covered by copyright, so I don't think I'm going to be able to list this in my store as digitals. I'd obviously be able to list the real thing, but I just don't want to let that go. Look at that, that's great. So I'll have a look through it all, and I'll probably, again, scan some so I've got it for my own use, and then just use some originals as well. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed shopping for these items. Bye!